Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 4.1, video 2. Today we're going to talk about calculating simple interest. Calculating simple interest is pretty simple. So to start off, we're going to just talk about what interest is and what it can mean for you. And in this case, we're going to talk about Whitney is surprised to hear that her 45-year-old uncle is leaving his job to backpack around the world for a year. He never really seemed like he was rich, and so she asks her mom how he can afford to do it. And her mom says that he has a lot more money than people think, and it's not because he earns a lot, he really doesn't. It's because he started saving and investing everything he could when he was a teenager. Instead of spending money on big houses or fancy cars or expensive clothes, he continued to save it for things that are more important to him, like this trip he's been dreaming about for years. And so Whitney questions how he could have put that much money away when he was her age. And it must have been mostly later when he was climbing the career ladder. Mom says no, for years it was just $25 here and $10 there, but all the while his investments and earnings were compounding over time, trickling a little more money into his account at first and then building to a waterfall the longer he left it untouched. So when we're calculating interest, that's what we're calculating. When you put money into a savings account, it's going to make more money. Simple interest is what we use when we're calculating how much interest you're earning over the course of just like really just 1 year. Or if you want to just make like a kind of rough estimate, because it is easier to calculate than compounding interest, which we're going to go over in the next video. So our simple interest formula is I equals P parentheses 1 plus R to T times T. So I is just the total after interest has been calculated. So that's what you started with plus whatever you earn in interest. P is the principal, which is your starting amount. That's what you put into your bank account. R is your interest rate, and we're always going to write that as a decimal. So remember, you can either press that little percent button on your phone calculator or just move the decimal over to the left. And then T is time. Typically, we're going to be talking about this in years, but you might have interest where it's going to just get calculated each month or something, and then you would just do it for the 1 month. So if you look on your student notes, page 9, you should see this little graphic for you to complete. And we have an example. So Justin has been saving up his birthday money and some cash that he's earned from odd jobs in his neighborhood. He now has $500 in his savings account with an annual interest rate of 2.5%. He crunches some other numbers to see how much his account will grow in a year. And we're going to use the simple interest formula to calculate how much Justin will have earned after 1 year. So we've got our formula right here. And so the first thing we need to do is identify our P. What is P going to be in this particular problem? And it looks like the amount that he's putting in his savings account is $500. So our principal, or that starting amount, would be $500. R is the rate or the interest rate. So we're going to look and it's 2.5%, but we're going to write that as a decimal. So that's going to be 0.025. And last but not least is T, our time. In this case, we're just looking at 1 year. Whenever you're calculating simple interest, for it to be the most accurate, it should just be for 1 year. But like I said, you can use it as a rough estimate for multiple years as well. And then all we're doing is substituting these numbers in to our formula. So I'm going to have I equals 500 because our principal is 500, parentheses 1 plus, instead of R, we're going to write 0.025. And parentheses, and then instead of T, we're going to write 1. And then we're just solving. So we're going to do 500. 1 plus 0.025 is 1.025 times 1, and we can just multiply that. Anything times 1 is itself, so we have 500 times 1.025. Put that in your calculator, and you're going to get I equals $512.50. And that is it for simple interest. You have some practice problems that you can complete on your own on page 11 of your student notes.